today we are reacting to Orikendo, every anime genre explained in 12 minutes. Now, from what I can tell from here is I know shonen, I know the comedy, I know the shinen, sci-fi, slice of life. I love slice of life. Every time I go to bed, I like to watch a good slice of life anime, kind of like a mixture of slice of life with romance. I like to watch those, like a mixture of slice of life and romance I like before going to bed. Um, Isekai. I mean, there are some good isekais. Fantasy, you know, having Farron right there, I do love some Farron. I do love some Farron. Sojo, yeah, I like Sojo. Josei. Sports, not much of a sports anime kind of guy. I mean, I do like watching sports, but when it comes to anime, it's like I don't know. I mean, I think the last sports related anime I watched was free, and that was like a swimming anime. So that was probably like the last one I saw. Ecchi, there- there's some good ecchis. Mecha, I do love mecha anime. Music, I'm trying to think, what was the last music related anime I watched? I think Carol on Tuesday. I think that was like the last one I've seen that was like music related. Harem, yeah. Got some good harem animes. But further ado, let's check it out. Let's check out all each one, and let's see if if it's gonna mention like some of my favorite animes out of each genre.
Shonen is one of the biggest anime genres, even though it's the most misunderstood, because it's not actually an anime genre. Shonen directly translates to boy, meaning that it's less of a
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing about shonen. Shonen is usually directed for young boys, whereas I think shoujo is directed to young girls. If I'm not mistaken.
genre and more of a demographic. And even though shonen is technically targeted towards young boys, a huge amount of people outside that demographic also consume a shonen anime, making it a pretty useless distinction when trying to differentiate them. For example, Death Note and Chainsaw Man are both published in shonen magazines, making them both technically
Okay. Here's my thing about it. I know shonen isn't necessarily like battle show. Like it's not always like you would think. Okay, when you think of shonen, you would think like One Piece, Bleach, Dragon Ball. But it's not just that. Death Note is considered shonen. It was published in what Shonen Jump. Get it? Shonen. You know, is in the title. But I know like there's like other animes that don't fall in that category of like, let's say like action packs, so to speak. Like your Dragon Ball, your One Piece, your Bleach, your Naruto. Even Chainsaw Man, for example. So yeah, there are other animes that do fall under that category, that genre, so to speak.
shonen even though their tones and themes couldn't be farther apart. This makes shonen a very nebulous term when describing anime. But anime fans will still use shonen as a genre, but when you hear this, you can assume that they are usually talking about battle shonen. This is an
Yeah, like I was saying, like Death Note isn't a battle shonen, but it is, you know, considered shonen. So if even if Death Note isn't a battle shonen, what what kind of shonen would it be exactly? Like how would it fall under shonen if it's not technically battle, but it's still shonen? I mean, I guess it is. Again, shonen is technically for young boys, directed to young boys. So I mean, young boys would be you know interested in Death Note, but it's just like I feel like there's like another classification for that.
actual genre because it does consist of shonen anime where the primary focus is on battles, usually with superhuman abilities like My Hero Academia or Bleach. The first modern battle shonen that popularized the genre would probably be Dragon Ball. Examples of great battle shonen that follow in Dragon Ball's footsteps would be Hunter x Hunter or Naruto. Examples of more mature shonen would be Full Metal Alchemist or Death Note. Comedy anime
Okay, so okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like calling it mature makes sense. Calling it mature makes sense because Death Note and Full Metal Alchemist do tackle our, mature themes versus like, I mean, I'm not gonna say Naruto doesn't tackle like mature themes. It's just, the Death Note and Full Metal Alchemist is a little, I want to say more grounded. Somewhat you could say grounded in realism, I would say, versus Naruto. I mean, yeah, it still has some mature themes, but I don't, it still comes off as more of just a battle shonen, if that makes sense. And yeah, I mean, I would say yeah, he has good taste. I would say like for from the top of my head, I would say like Death Note and Fullmetal Alchemist is like my personal favorites when it comes to mature. And as far as like battle shonen, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. I love Dragon Ball, so that would be like my number one for when it comes to like battle shonen. Two, Naruto. Three, I'm gonna go with Bleach. I would, like I said, I'm not really a One Piece type of guy, so that would be like my top three as far as like battle shonen and you know Full Metal Alchemist and Death Note, or like I would say like more mature shonen shows.
They are all about making you laugh, but usually get a bad rep from the anime community for
And the funny thing is, isn't Gintama considered a shonen? Wouldn't Gintama also be considered shonen? I mean, it's a comedy anime, but it's also shonen. And if I'm not mistaken, Gintama was in Shonen Jump, right? It was like part of Shonen Jump, and I think Sake isn't he a shonen anime too? So I guess you could say like I want to say these two are both shonen animes. Even though they're comedy, they're still shonen. See what I'm saying? Like, so it would be like another classification would be like, okay, they're shonen comedies, and Death Note would be like a shonen. I want to say Seinen. I don't think it's a Sheinen. Would it be? Would Death Note be considered a Sheinen? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it's part of shonen, but it's also something else too. It's like another side to it. But I do like Saki. I do love Gintama. They're like Konosuba. Konosuba's hilarious. I love Konosuba too. I don't think Konosuba's a shonen. I don't think that one's a shonen. But these two, I believe, are shonen. I believe these two are shonen. I believe they both are in Shonen Jump. It's funny enough that we don't get Shonen Jump in the States. That sucks. I wish we could get like the physical copies again. I know back in the early 2000s, I used to get like Shonen Jump because they used to sell it in the grocery stores. Nowadays, they don't sell it, and I mean they have like the online subscription service, but I do prefer my physical media. I love my physical media. I wish they could bring back Shonen Jump in the States. I'm not gonna lie.
well, not making us laugh, but it's important to remember that as English viewers, we lose a lot of context when an anime is translated.
Yeah, Gintama is hilarious. I think the first time I watched it was sub. I think the first time I watched Gintama sub. I'll say this. I mean, anime technically isn't made for like people in the West. It's really made for people in Japan. But even though there's moments where like I don't quite get the cultural nuances, it's still hilarious. No matter what. Like it's still hilarious. I may not get some of the nuances when it comes to the Japanese culture and what Japanese people might find funny, but I still have a good time. I still laugh. There's still moments where it's like, okay, that's hilarious. I can admit that's hilarious. But yeah, again, it's not technically made for you know people in the West. So just like some things here in the West may not what probably fly over people in the East. Fly over their heads. Maybe they might not get the nuances here. Like specifically, because I'm American, I would assume that most people might not understand American humor or even Black American humor. So I kind of get it.
Sometimes Japanese humor relies on wordplay to inject humor into an exchange, which can often get lost on us. Another gripe anime fans have with a lot of comedy anime is that they'll heavily rely on a single joke, with changes only happening to the surrounding context or situation. But this isn't always a bad thing. Examples of good comedy anime that focus on a single punchline are One Punch Man or Sakamoto-kun. Examples of
okay, One Punch Man is hilarious. That is hilarious. Also, One Punch Man is a shonen, right? See what I'm saying? Like, like sometimes it's like, you get what I'm saying. Like, it's also a shonen too. So it'd be like a comedy shonen. But yeah, One Punch Man is hilarious. I mean, I guess one of the running jokes is that he can defeat people with one punch, and also some of the characters are hilarious. Sakamoto, I've heard of it. I never watched it. I forgot what it was about. Like, I think he's just some pretty guy. I think that's the joke, like, or like something.
Other good comedy anime that don't rely on a single joke would be Nichijou or Psyche K.
Let's go back.
K.
Okay. Okay. So Saki K, I love Saki K. It's hilarious. This is hilarious. This show's hilarious. Do go check this out. This is one of the funniest animes I've seen. She here, I think the one I want to say her hair is like a mix between purple and blue. She kind of reminds me of like Trixie Tang from the Fairy Odd Parents. Like, I feel like there was like a scene where it's like, no, I don't think it's a scene. I think it's like a recurring like theme where like he's psychic, right? He's a psychic guy, and he could read everyone's thoughts, and he could see through her. Like, he could see the real her, and it's hilarious because like everyone's in love with her, everyone's like so fond of her, but him, it's like when it comes to him, he's like he doesn't care. So it kind of reminds me of like that one episode of Fairly Odd Parents where Trixie Tang had a breakdown because like, she's so used to like being a memory, So I feel like that her character like just sums up that like one episode. This guy's hilarious. This guy, okay, yeah, okay. This is the guy that's has like the delusion. Wait, no. This guy's the medium. He's like the medium shaman guy. This guy's the guy with the delusions. He's the goofball idiot one. You got like the athletic guy, his parents. I can't remember these two what their thing is, but yeah. And for this one, Niicho, I watch a couple. I watch a couple episodes of Niicho. It's hilarious. I can't. I think the deer is hilarious. I think there's an episode of like the deer. But yeah, these two are. But this one's my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. This one's my favorite. Out of the two, this one's my favorite.
Okay. Seinen is a much less recognized term to most casual anime viewers, but it essentially just translates to youth, as in it is targeted towards young adults, specifically adult males. Seinen is again not a genre, but instead a demographic.
Okay, if I'm pronouncing Shonen, if it's for young adult males, would Josei be considered for young adult women? Now I think about it, like, would that, like, because again, Shonen's for young boys, Shoujo's for young girls, Shonen is for young adult males, so I would assume Josei is, like, for young adult women.
Graphic. An easy way to tell if a manga is published in a seinen magazine is if they directly use the word young. One of the most widely known seinen manga, Berserk, was originally...
Love Berserk. Love it. RIP to creator of Berserk. Unfortunately, he passed away. I mean, RIP to all creators of all manga who have passed away over the years. RIP to them. But Berserk is one of my favorites as well. One of my favorite mangas. I do love Berserk.
Published in a magazine called Young Animal, which often contains pinups along chapters of the manga. Because
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So it's like, so you would get your manga and you'll get your beauty of the day or beauty of the week. Kind of reminds me of like, what was Jet Magazine? Was it Jet Magazine that had like the beauty of the week? So it's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you okay. Not only you getting your manga of the week, you're also getting your beauty of the week. That's hilarious.
in manga are targeted towards an older audience, they often deal with much darker themes and storylines. Examples of this.
I mean, That last was hilarious. Yeah, I mean, young men do like their they do like this. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't like this? I mean, who doesn't? I mean, at the end of the day, who doesn't?
Or Vinland Saga, where themes of revenge and slavery are prominent.
I never watched or read Vinland Saga, so let me know. Is Vinland Saga worth reading and watching? Let me know, because I've heard of it. Okay, I just heard the name. I just don't know anything about it exactly. I don't know what Vinland Saga is about, but I've heard the name, but I've never read or watched it before. So let me know if it's worth watching. I mean, if it is, I'll watch it on my own time.
And Berserk, which is personally my favorite.
But I do love Berserk. Berserk, I read the manga, never watched. I feel like, okay, I said this before. I think Berserk, as far as like adaptation, I don't know what will we ever get a true good adaptation of Berserk. I don't know if we'll ever get like a true good adaptation for Berserk in like anime form. But I'm fine with just reading the manga. I'm fine with just reading the manga.
Thing of all time. Sci-fi is an anime genre with a heavy emphasis on technology or future.
I do love Ghost in the Shell. I'll say that. I do love Ghost in the Shell. I do love Cowboy Bebop. Those two, I didn't watch the Ghost in the Shell live action. I'm still trying to figure out why is Scarlett Johansson in that movie. I don't know why she's in that movie. I don't know why she plays this character in the movie. I don't know why they cast her. I guess because she's been in the Avengers and she's Black Widow. I guess I don't know. As far as Cowboy Bebop, I didn't watch that. I've seen clips and I was like, yeah, yeah, not for me. But as far as it being, it's anime form. I do love Ghost in the Shell and Cowboy Bebop.
Elements, and it is significantly different from Western sci-fi. Sci-fi used to be a very popular genre. Significantly different from Western.
I'll say this, and I'll say this over time, over time on my channel, over time on my streams, but I'll say this right now. Star Wars and Star Trek, and the words of Peter Griffin, it assists upon itself. It assists upon itself. If you get that reference, let me know, because that's how I feel about Star Wars and Star Trek. Even Lord of the Rings, I feel that way too. But I'm gonna say that when we get to the fantasy side of things. But for right now, since I see Star Wars and Star Trek on the screen, they assist upon themselves. I just couldn't get into them. I just generally could not get into Star Wars, could not get into Star Trek. That's my personal opinion. One of these days, I'll tell the story about Star Wars and Star Trek. I don't want to keep this, rambling about it, but, like I said, I couldn't get into them, and they assist upon themselves. So I hope you guys got that reference. From the words of Peter Griffin, again, it assists upon itself.
Sci-fi. Sci-fi used to be a very popular genre in anime, most likely originating with the anime Astro Boy. However, the golden age of sci-fi is widely regarded to be in the 80s and 90s, meaning that many anime fans aren't well versed in the best sci-fi anime, including Akira, Ghost.
Oh, Akira, bro. Ooh, that's good. Like, I used to own it, but I think I gave my copy to my cousin, I believe. I think I gave, like, my copy of Akira and Ghost in the Shell to my cousin. But I did owe the movies, like the Ghost in the Shell like movie and the Akira movie. They're good. Akira is really good. I do want to get that. I do want to get the manga. I do want to like one day buy the manga and collect. One of these days I do want to get back into collecting manga. I do want to like get back into collecting manga again, like buy up physical copies again. But I do love Akira. I do love Ghost in the Shell. I think the creator of Akira, I think he did 20th Century Boys. I think I've read like a few chapters, but I do want to own that manga too. 20th Boys is good too. I don't know if 20th Boys is considered sci-fi, but I do remember 20th Boys is made by the same creator of Akira.
In the Shell and Cowboy Bebop. It's worth noting.
Cowboy Bebop, love Cowboy Bebop, love it. I think my favorite episode of Cowboy Bebop was that one episode where it's like the ship was invaded or something. Like I feel like there was like the ship was invaded or something. I forgot. It's been years, but it's been years. This is like the early 2000s, right? A lot of animes I watched growing up. You know, I grew up in the early 2000s, so I vividly remember like some animes. You know, speaking of which, there was like one anime I remember watching as a kid, and it was like again early 2000s, late 90s. I don't know what it was about, but it kind of creeped me out a little bit because I'm a little kid. I'm like maybe like 6, 7 when I saw this on TV. I forgot where I watched it at. I can't remember the name, but it did creep me out. So I think it was like part of sci-fi, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is there was an episode of Cowboy Bebop where like I think the ship was invaded, and that was like one of my favorite episodes. Also, this has nothing to do with anime or anything, but I remember vividly, and this is how you could tell my age right now. Like, I mean, I'm not old, but I'm old enough to remember when Adult Swim first came out. I do vividly remember when Adult Swim came out. Like, I remember all the early Adult Swim shows. I just want to throw that out there, you know. So that's like why I remember some things, because I remember Cowboy Bebop used to be on Adult Swim. I believe it was Adult Swim. It wasn't because I feel like I think Cowboy Bebop was a little bit too mature for Toonami, right? At the time, I think yeah, because like certain anime weren't on Toonami. Nowadays, it probably is nowadays, because I think nowadays Toonami is integrated with Adult Swim. But back then, you know, like your Dragon Ball was a Toonami anime, right? But then your Cowboy Bebop was like Adult Swim anime, and Fully Cooley was Adult Swim anime, Inuyasha was Adult Swim anime. You know, those were more designated for Adult Swim. Whereas like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, you know, those likes were more, you know, Toonami. You know what I mean? But let's continue.
That shows like these popularize the cyberpunk genre across the world, which is why I would point you towards cyberpunk edgerunners if you're looking for a modern.
I never watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I probably need to check it out. I probably do need to check that one out too. There's a couple I need to check out. I need to like add to like a list of my must watch.
Sci-fi anime. Slice of life is a controversial genre among anime.
I love me some slice of life. Like I said, I like to, before going to sleep, I like to like find a slice of life anime that has like either comedy or romance in it, and just watch that. Like to kick back and relax and watch a good like slice of life anime mixed with romance and comedy.
Anime fans that most avoid because a lot of people find.
I like Lucky Star. I like Lucky Star. It's a cute anime. It's really funny.
And it boring. The general idea of slice of life is, like the name implies, to capture a slice of someone's regular day-to-day life. It's usually characterized by a much slower pace with more emphasis on what we would consider.
Yeah, that's why I watch it at night. That's why I like to watch it at like before going to sleep, because it's there's not much going on. There's no action. If I want to watch something action, I watch it when I'm awake. You know what I mean? Like I'm fully awake. I like to watch my shonens and stuff like that. But before going to bed, like I like to watch Slice of Life. It's more relaxing. Like I want to relax before going to sleep. I don't want to like be hyped up. I mean, maybe other people are different, but that's just how I roll. That's how I do things. I prefer like doing the Slice of Life at night, and then in the daytime, I like to watch my shonens and stuff.
Mundane experiences. Some people think that slice of life means no development happens across the series, but that's not necessarily true. Oftentimes the genre is paired with comedy, drama, or romance. Early slice of life.
Yeah, that's how That's how I like to watch. Like I like to watch. Okay, I forgot about drama as well. I forgot about the drama. I do like to watch slice of life that has drama, romance, and comedy. You know, you hit the nails. Violet Evergarden. That's good. I do like Violet Evergarden. Canad. It's been a while. It's been years since I watched Canad. I think last time I watched Canad was it high school. I'm gonna say it was high school or like early college. I seen Canad.
Anime that were very influential include Azumanga Daioh, Hidamari Sketch, and
Azumaka Daioh is hilarious, bro. It's hilarious. And if okay, I know this about this one. Who I forgot which character was it? Is one I can't remember it. I think it's this character. No, or is it this character? It's one of these characters where I don't listen. I'm not Japanese, and Japanese is not my first language, but I don't quite understand accents like the a regular Japanese person would. But I think like one of the characters has like what a kansei, is it kansei? Like a Osaka accent, and I don't quite get it. See what I'm saying? Like it's like certain moments was like I don't get it, but I guess it's funny. But I think in the dub they portrayed it as like a southern accent, so I was assuming like in Japan characters that or just people in general who have like here in the States we have like southern accents, right? I think that's equivalent to that. I'm assuming. I think that's like equivalent to that. So like things like that, I don't quite get the nuance, but I mean it's funny, but I don't quite get it because I don't, I'm not, I don't live there to like quite understand. So I guess to them that like they're like considered like that the Japanese equivalent to like a country bumpkin, I guess. Because you ever notice that in like anime, there's like always a character like just moved to the city. I'm assuming most animes take place in Tokyo. I'm assuming most animes take place in Tokyo. There's usually like a character from the countryside, and they move to the city, and they got adjust to the city life, and like they portray as like the country bumpkin character. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just hilarious. I think the last time I seen like something like that was I forgot it's called Skipping Loafer. Give me a moment. Okay, it was Skipping Loafer. Yeah, because I think the main character, the female protagonist, she's like a country bumpkin. So you see what I'm saying? Like it's just hilarious.
Lucky Star. If you want a modern
Love Lucky Star.
slice of life to enjoy, I would recommend Kobayashi Dragon Maid or Nanon Biori.
Hold on. Love Miss Kabayashi's Dragon Maid. Love that. She's she's right here. Luca. I think her name is Luca. Best character. Okay, I think me personally, Luca's my favorite character. Then it's her. Yeah, these two are my favorites. These two ladies are my favorites. And when it comes to this anime, isn't this anime the one where like they eat rum ice cream? I literally bought some rum raisin ice cream to try it out because I think it was this anime. It was this anime, I believe. I want to say it was this one. I can't. It's been a while, but I watch it. It was either this or one of these animes I watched, but I want to say it was this one. I watched where the characters was eating rum raisin ice cream, and I was like, "What does that taste like?" So I went and buy some, and I enjoyed it. So it's been a while since I ate it, but I mean, I enjoyed it. It was, I mean, to each their own. It has raisins in it, but the flavor is good. Despite the raisins, the flavor is actually kind of good.
On Biori. Romance is another controversial genre because it often takes way too long for anything to actually happen relationship-wise, but this can be chalked up to cultural differences. In Western shows, the romance genre isn't necessarily about whether the couple will get together, it's about if their relationship will stand the test of time. But with romance anime, it's more often about if their relationship will happen at all. That's why oftentimes a romance anime will take its time getting the main characters together. There are also many
Is this Toradora. I like Toradora.
Common tropes in which a person mishears the other confession, causing the entire relationship dynamic to be reset. This can be frustrating, and personally, I hate the trope.
I love this one. Junibo, I'm pronouncing that right. This one's my favorite romance. Toradora, this one, these are one of my favorites.
Too. So, if you want some good romance anime that still take a while to develop but don't use those tropes, check out Kaguya-sama or Golden Time. If you want a romance
Golden Time. Oh, I still haven't watched Kaguya-sama. Again, I just I only know because of this person right here, the girl in the middle. I just know because of her memes. I just see memes of this girl, but other than that, I never watched Kaguya-sama. But Golden Time, that's a good one. That's a good one. I forgot if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's her or the main guy lost their memory. I think one of the characters lost their memories or something. But this is actually good, worth watching. You know what's another? Okay, I'll say this. I think it's called "From Me to You." That's a good romance anime. Listen, I'll give you some of my favorites. "From Me to You" is a good romance anime. Definitely go check that out. "Lovely Complex," good romance anime. Go check that out. Um, Maisen Ikuro, if I pronounce it right. Give me a moment. This is a good romance anime. This is worth watching too. Well, I read the manga. I didn't watch the anime. So if you want to read the manga, go ahead. This is a good romance anime right here. These are a few of my favorites when it comes to romance animes. From Me to You, this is good. I do enjoy this one. I recommend Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. That's a good one. Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You. This is a good one. My Love Story. This is a good one. I recommend this one. My Just Up Darling. I do recommend this one. Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. This is a good one. I enjoy this one as well. I Can't Understand My Husband Saying. That's a good one. I watched this one twice. A lot of these, some of these I watch multiple times. So I do enjoy them. Skip It Loafer. I just finished watching Skip It Loafer. I love it. It's cute. I do recommend this one. I recommend Love the Complex. That's a good one. I also Don't Toy Me Miss Nagatoro. That's a good one. That's another good romance anime. And Komike Communicate. I'm currently still reading the manga. Love it. So those are like my personal, like you can say some of my personal favorites when it comes to like romance animes. So check those out, guys.
romance anime that's more akin to Western TV shows, check out Horimiya, although I will say that I think the manga is better. Isekai literally translates to different or other world. It's technically a
Like there's so many types of like isekais that's just like crazy, especially with the titles. Like some of the isekai titles are like ridiculous. So like some like when it comes to like isekai, some of the titles are ridiculous. I think my favorite so far would be Konosuba. I love Konosuba. That's an isekai. I do enjoy that one. Okay, let me ask you this: would you consider Inuyasha an isekai, so to speak? Would you classify it as an isekai? Because if so, that's one of my all-time favorites. If you consider that isekai, I mean, Kugami did you know, go to a different world, so to speak. But I think she's like the only one that can go between worlds. Usually, isekai, you leave your world to a new world, and you usually stay there. So I'm not sure like if she's if that's still considered isekai. If so, if that's you would put that as an isekai, would be like one of my all-time favorites. But if not, like I said, Konosuba is one of my favorites.
subgenre of fantasy that revolves around a person from our world being transported into a fantasy one. This can happen through many different ways, but in isekai it usually happens using a portal or reincarnation. While
Or Truck-kun. Sometimes truck coon, or things happen. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Many people think of isekai as a modern genre. It's actually a very old genre. The idea of going to another world was always a popular one. I mean, think about it. Alice in Wonderland came out in 1865. Really the first isekai if you ask me. But
yeah, Alice in Wonderland is that's an isekai. That is an isekai. Oh, The Wizard of Oz. That's an isekai. You see that those two are isekais.
if we're talking about modern isekai anime, the originator can actually be traced back to Zero no Tsukaima, which helped popularize Naruto web novels. If you want to learn more about the history of modern isekai, check out the video I made on that subject. But basically, Zero no Tsukaima fanfiction is actually what inspired light novels like ReZero, which in turn inspired stories like Mushoku Tensei. However, the popularity of adapting light novels into anime really began with Sword Art Online and its huge success, despite the fact that SAO isn't really an isekai to begin with. Fantasy is a very all-encompassing term for any story with fantastical elements. This means that it can actually include shonen fantasy like Hunter x Hunter or Full Metal Alchemist, but it also includes high fantasy like Frieren. It covers dark fantasy like Claymore or Berserk, but it also covers historical fantasy like Demon.
Okay, I from Full Metal Alchemist to Inuyasha, love it. I love Full Metal Alchemist, love Hunter x Hunter, Fearment, love it. Berserk, love it. I'll say Claymore. Never watched it or read the manga. If there is a manga of Claymore, there, probably have to put that in my list of must watch. Demon Slayer, love it. Inuyasha, love it. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Inuyasha is one of my favorite childhood animes, like of all time. Like outside of Dragon Ball, Inuyasha is like one of my all-time favorite childhood animes. I have like a deep connection, deep love for Inuyasha.
Slayer or
Like I remember my cousin. I had a cousin. She had like all the Inuyasha mangas, and I was like my first time ever like seeing manga before because I was introduced to manga to her, and she had like all the Inuyasha mangas. I remember like every time we would like visit her house, I would always read her manga. Like I would always sit down and like just read Inuyasha. And one of the things I do wish I would also had spent time doing was play Kingdom Hearts. She had Kingdom Hearts on the PlayStation 2, but I was so fixated with Inuyasha at the time. I was so like fixated reading her Inuyasha mangas that I didn't really like get a chance to like play Kingdom Hearts. That's how much I love Inuyasha. Like I it's one of my favorite childhood animes.
Yasha. While in the West, we tend to think of fantasy as mainly just high fantasy. This is because
Lord of the Rings. Okay, like I said, again, it's I said this about in the sci-fi portion. I'm gonna say it here. In the words of Peter Griffin, it assists upon itself. It assists upon itself. Just couldn't get into Lord of the Rings. Funny enough, the only thing, well, Doctor Who's more sci-fi, so yeah, I do like Doctor Who. As far as like sci-fi wise, I love Doctor Who. Um, David Tennant is my favorite Doctor. Matt Smith is my second favorite Doctor. I think like 9, 10, 11. I think that's the order. I think Christopher, forgot last name starts with an E. I think he's like the ninth Doctor. David Tennant, I think, is the 10th. I think Matt Smith's the 12th. I mean, the 11th, I think. I think that's like the order. But those are like my, those are, because that's how I got introduced to Doctor Who. I got introduced to Doctor Who to those guys. So those are like my favorite Doctors. But David Tennant is my number one. I'll probably, if I ever do a Doctor Who video, I'll probably go into detail how I feel about the latest Doctor. But that's a different video for a different topic. But again, let's just say this for the sake of saying Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Star Trek, assist upon itself. And if you want me to go in detail about that, I'll go in detail another time. But further ado, let's continue. Just know, they insist upon themselves.
As Tolkien's work have been so influential to our art. In anime, fantasy usually takes inspiration from a many number of things, so in a certain sense, you could say that fantasy is one of the biggest genres in anime as a whole, and for that reason, it's hard to give a specific recognition for the genre. Shoujo is another demographical term and not necessarily a genre. It directly translates to girl, so shoujo anime are more often targeted towards younger girls. Shoujo anime tend to be romances or dramas, but a big subgenre that emerged from shoujo is the magical girls genre, where girls transform into superheroes with magic powers. One of the first examples of a shoujo anime is Sally the Witch, who is technically a magical girl. However, not all magical girl anime are shoujos, as again, shoujo is a demographic and not a genre-defining term. Other important shoujo anime include The Rose of Versailles and Sailor Moon. If I had to pick
I do like Sailor Moon. Rose of Versailles, never read the manga or watched the anime. Sailor Moon, I've watched before. It was something that remember on Toonami. Um, Me personally, as far as like the Sailor Scouts, I believe this is Amy. Amy, Sailor Mercury, best girl. That's number one. Okay, in order. In order. For me, I would say Mercury, best girl, then Mars, then Jupiter, then you know Sailor Moon, and then Venus. That's how I'm gonna do it in order. Again, best girl, second best girl, third best girl, fourth best girl, fifth best girl. That's just my opinion on the Sailor Scouts and others. Outside of them, Neptune. Neptune is outside of the core group, I would say Neptune. Funny enough, that's how I remember. I used to have like, man, I don't know, man. Life is crazy these days. Like, man, I'm sorry, but like the the, the '90s and 2000s to me, growing up was the best time because like you gotta think about it. Kids these days don't know how good, like, they just don't know, man. They just don't know how good life was back then. Because like, bro, I used to get like anime magazines, right? Remember how like so okay. Remember how like back in the day, you can like go in the grocery store and like you could pick up magazines like anime magazines. They had Disney magazines. They had Nickelodeon magazines. The Shonen Jump. All that. Nowadays, kids don't have that, which is crazy. But what I'm trying to say is, I remember back in the day, I used to have like an anime magazine, and in the magazine, they were like talking about Sailor Moon, and they were like mentioning how Sailor Neptune, Sailor Uranus, being a gay couple. Because I guess in the dub, the U.S. version, so to speak, I think they try to change it to like their cousins, but in reality, we all know that they're lovers. Just like how there was, I think the first time I've ever heard of BL, heard of like yaoi or like boys love. There was like, I think it's called Gravity. I think yeah, there was like a article about that too in the magazine. But yeah, it just go to show. It just goes to show,
a shoujo series that acts as a sort of originating point for modern shoujo, I might pick Fruit Baskets or Sailor Moon. But to be honest,
Oh yeah, the same cousin I had copies of Fruit Baskets. The same cousin that I would go over to our house, and she like had Inuyasha. She also had a Fruits Basket. I never got into Fruits Baskets. I mean, I think these two characters are shapeshifters or something. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're like shapeshifters. I want to see these two like shapeshifters. But I do want to like get into Fruits Baskets in the future.
as a guy, I don't really watch much shoujo, and I'm pretty unqualified to talk about this in particular. So if anyone in the comments has a better
That's hilarious. I only watch men with other men. I mean, hey, I like soju. I do I mean, I ain't that. Like some people would say toxic masculinity or whatever. I mean, I like to watch a sojo here and there. But yeah. Speaking of which, I mean, I do want to get into like fruits baskets in the future. Want to check it out.
Idea of what series really popularized modern shoujo? Let me know. Anyway, recommendations for modern shoujo that I enjoy would be Yona of the Dawn and My Next Life as a Villainess, which is actually
Never watched those or read the manga, or if there's a light novel to them, never read them. Honestly, I never read a light novel before in my life. I know what light novels are, but I never read one before. Maybe one of these days I should like read a light novel. I should like get into like reading light novels.
a new subgenre of isekai that involves someone entering the world of a dating sim for women, but as the villain. I also suspect that this villainess subgenre will continue to grow. Josei is another demographical term, but it translates to woman, meaning that most josei anime.
I was correct. I was correct because like if Shinen is for young men, Josei gotta be for young women too. I do like Josei too. I think I probably prefer Josei over Shoujo. So yeah.
Are targeted towards adult women. However, like Shonen and Seinen, the lines between shoujo and josei are very blurry. In fact, the thumbnail for this video uses Nana as a josei anime, but Nana is actually a shoujo anime because it was published in a shoujo magazine. Now, the reason I still put in the thumbnail is because I haven't actually watched any major josei anime, and
Nana, man, I do need to take the time and watch Nana. I do need to like get into it more. Like I really do need to like really like dive into like watching Nana. I know it's like probably one of the most popular animes out there. I definitely need to like give it a try.
this is the only mature shoujo anime I've tried. That being said, I can't give any great recommendations, so I'm just using my Animalist catalog here, and using that, good modern josei anime to try would be Chihaya Firu and Rakugo Shinju. Sports anime is one of the oldest and long-lasting genres, usually depicting a high school or collegiate sports team and their journey. Because sports anime vary widely based on the sport itself,
Yeah, the only sports anime I've really watched from beginning to end is Free. Yeah, like Free is the only one I've truly ever like watched. I was thinking about doing watching Blue Lock. I was thinking about watching Blue Lock. I mean, Kuroko Basket. Um, I watched it with my mom. My mom watched it before. Like she had like got into watching Kuroko Basket. So I mean, I watched a couple episodes with her. Haiku, Haikyuu. Never watch it. I've seen it. I've seen this around. Never like watch it. But Free is the only like sports anime technically I've ever like seen, like beginning to end.
they are all pretty different, but if I were to point to a show that exemplifies modern sports anime, it would be Slam Dunk. The Slam Dunk manga single
Yeah, I've heard Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk is, I've heard of it. I don't know. Should I? Is it worth watching and reading? Let me know.
handedly increased the popularity of basketball across Japan. And in the same vein, Haikyuu has done the same for men's volleyball across Japan. These are examples of more realistic sports anime though, and it's worth noting that there are more unrealistic sports.
I don't know if he's gonna mention it, but Prince of Tennis. That's a sports anime. I used to be popular back in the day. Prince of Tennis. I remember that was like a kind of popular anime for like, as far as like sports.
Anime where characters border on the line of superhuman. Prince of Tennis and Kuroko no Basket are good
Okay, he did mention it. He did mention it. Yeah, Prince of Tennis was very popular anime back in the day.
examples of shows like this, where characters are pulling off insane moves that aren't usually possible. If you want a good modern sports anime, I would personally recommend Blue Block, although I think the manga is better. Ecchi is a slang term in the Japanese language that means different things in different contexts. It can be an adjective meaning sexy, dirty, or naughty. It can be a verb meaning to have sex, and it can even be a noun where someone is basically a pervert. Ecchi as a genre is characterized by hypersexualized moments in a show.
I think I know what this one is. I know what this one is. I just forgot the name of it. I I could tell from this. I could tell. High School is dead, bro. Oh my goodness, bro. It's just sad shame. I think the creator passed away. Man, just imagine if we got a continuation of High School Dead, bro. Like, oh my goodness. It's worth watching. It's worth watching. I think there's a manga for it. Read the manga. Watch the anime. It's good. I understand it's itchy. It's itchy. You got the fan service, a lot of fan service, but deep down, it's good. Food Wars, it's good too, right? Food Wars is good too. It's just like you gotta think about. Okay, out of all these free, right? Out of these free that's shown, I just think like Food Wars is one of those. Is like, is it necessary? Like, does it really? Is it really necessary? Because like food can't be that good. I'm just saying, like, food can't be. I don't know. I don't think I've ever ate food that made me. I, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how to put it into words without making it sound weird. But it's just if you've seen Food Wars, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. I just want to know, like, I just never ate food that made me felt that way. I just never have. Let me know if you guys ever ate food that made you felt that way, because I surely haven't.
Often dubbed as fan service, where the plot will bend backwards to force its characters in certain positions. Although
To Love Ru. This is To Love Ru. This is good. This is a good anime. To Love Ru.
shows can have a little bit of fan service and not
I
be
could tell just by it looked like a transformation. Kill la Kill. I love Kill la Kill. Really good. Anime too.
ecchi, when a show regularly pounds these scenes to the viewer or places emphasis on the sexual themes in the show, it qualifies as an ecchi. Now, it's worth noting that ecchi isn't really a genre you'll find on its own, because if you only wanted sexual content in a show, then, well, you might as well watch hentai.
Alright guys, I just got these brand new headphones.
Mecha is a very old subgenre of sci-fi that's all about
Speaking of ecchi, Prison School is a good ecchi like say anime. I think there's like what only one season, but the manga. If you read the manga, it's pretty good. I think I've read the manga. I don't remember. I don't think I completed it. I think I've like read halfway. But it's worth checking out if you're into ecchi. I mean, I recommend Prison School.
giant robots. A big reason that it's gotten so popular is because of the toys that were marketed towards Japanese citizens. In mecha, there are two main subgenres, super robot and real robots. Super robots often refer to supersized, impossible-looking mechas, while real robots try and match real-world physics and limitations. Before Gundam, super robots were the most popular subgenre, but Mobile Suit Gundam caused a revolution in the mecha genre, popularizing the real robot. However, that wasn't the end of the super
So, I know I did a video on this. So, Gundam is real robot, and then other mechas would be super. Okay. Still trying to like quite understand that, because like it's kind of like I'm not saying it's confusing, so to speak. It's just like it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, you really gotta sit down and pay attention to what would classify as super and real. So I would say like yeah, Gundam would be considered real robot. I think that's what you're saying.
supersized, impossible-looking mechas, while real robots try and match real-world physics and limitations.
Yeah, I would assume like Gundam is like would be considered like a real robot. And I would think, I mean, Transformers is technically I want to say mecha, so I would assume that they're more super robot. And like Voltron is like real robot. If that makes sense.
Before Gundam, super robots were the most popular subgenre.
Okay, I know I've heard of Mazinger Z. I think that's what it's called. That is super. That's a super robot.
But Mobile Suit Gundam caused a revolution in the mecha genre, popularizing the real robot. However, that wasn't the end of the super robot genre. Evangelion popularized the super robot genre once again.
Okay, so Evangelion is super. Got it. You know, I could see that. I could see that because like Gundam, they're fighting other humans, so to speak. Gundam, they're mostly fighting other humans, whereas in Evangelion, they're fighting with what's called angels, like these alien type beings. So I can see that now. I can see like how that differentiate each other.
And although the mecha genre is still widely popular, owing favors to superfans who buy and build Gunplas, its popularity.
I do one of these days. I do want to build a Gunpla on stream. I do want to do like a Gunpla building stream. Like I want to learn how to like build a Gunpla. I mean, I'm not gonna like do the whole. I've seen like videos, like well, there's one person I love watching. She's like one of my favorite idols, Umi. If you know who Umi is, oh, I love Umi. She's one of my favorite idols. I know she likes to like build Gunplas, and I know she's like more detailed when she's building her Gunpla. Like she likes to like paint them and like detail them more. Me, so it's more so I just want to learn how to like put it together. I just want to like learn how. But yeah, like Umi is my favorite. I love Umi, and me personally, I just want to like learn how to put together. I just want to like learn how to put together a Gunpla. I don't necessarily care as much to like do the painting. Just okay. Starting out, I just want to like build the Gunpla, and then I guess as I advance, I want to like learn how to like paint the Gunplas in more detail.
Has definitely dwindled in the last decade. If you want recommendations of solid mecha shows today, I would recommend you Evangelion and one of my all-time favorites, Code Geass.
Good taste. Good taste. He's a man of culture, I would say. Evangelion, yeah, I definitely recommend that. Code Geass, definitely recommend that. Definitely recommend that as far as good mechas. Now, I'll recommend, when it comes to Gundam, me personally, Gundam Wing and G Gundam. Those like the only two guns I've ever watched. But Big O. Big O is a good mecha. Definitely check out Big O. Gurren Lagann. Definitely check out Gurren Lagann. Yeah.
More modern iterations of Gundam that are supposedly good are Iron Blooded Orphans and The Witch from Mercury. The music anime genre is a little interesting, because in the West, many of us associate the music genre with musicals, where characters will break out into song and
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, in the West it's more like musicals, but I think in anime it's like, I want to say like live performance. Like usually they're like bands and stuff.
dance like in Disney movies. But from my knowledge, there are very few anime that are actual musicals, which is probably a cultural difference. When music is heavily used in an anime, it's because the anime's focus is on music itself. So it's better to think of music as a genre like sports.
Okay, K-On! Is good. I do like K-On!. I forgot what this is called. I don't think I've watched this one, but I've watched K-On!.
Where the main characters are usually involved in making the music themselves. Popular anime in the music genre include Love Live, which started the anime idol trend, K-On!, which greatly popularized the slice of life and music genres, and if you want a modern music anime that's mixed with comedy, I would really recommend Bocchi.
I've heard about it, never watch it. I guess I'm gonna check it out in the future. I'll probably check out Bocchi, The Rock. I'll definitely check that out.
The Rock. The harem genre is a subgenre of romance that heavily focuses on polyamorous relationships, typically with one male and many females. Sometimes the genre can be twisted into a reverse harem, where the woman is a main character with multiple male love interests. Personally, I'm still waiting for the bisexual terror that is a mixed harem, but anime is clearly too scared to do that. Harem as a genre gained popularity due to dating simulators, which explains why most harem anime used to be based on visual novels. Most anime fans look down on harem anime because they're pretty unrealistic in portraying how a boring average guy can pull so many baddies, but let's be honest, the vast majority of harem anime is for horny teenagers who want to self-insert with the main character. But at the same time, there are a good amount of harem anime that still use its premise to tell a compelling story, which often leads to something called a shipping war, where fans choose their best waifu in hopes that they end
I've seen this. I've seen this one. Man, it's all right. It's all right. But yeah, I mean, there are some good harem animes. You know, can't don't knock it. Don't you know how it goes. Don't knock it till you try it, so to speak.
up with the main character, aka some of these people need to touch grass. An anime that helped create this trend and caused the harem genre to explode in popularity was Love Hina. Example.
Oh yeah, I remember Love Hina. I remember it. I think I've seen it before in the past. It's been a while. I don't know if I've watched the anime, but I remember seeing clips of it back in the day.
Of modern shows that have a battle royale of baddies would be quintessential quintuplets. If you want examples of a harem that I think are genuinely good, I would recommend The World Only God Knows and 100 Girlfriends, just for being.
I don't know if he's gonna mention it, but my personal favorite was Rosario Vampire. That's like my personal favorites. Top of my head, I could think of as far as harem animes, one of my favorites. The World Only God Knows. I've watched maybe a few episodes, but I never truly got into it. So I watched it. I think I dropped it. I've seen the first season of this. I never watched the second season. I think there's a second season. Girlfriend. I was thinking about Girlfriend. That's a harem anime. I think I've seen the first season of that. I think there's a second season to that one too. Right now, currently, I guess if you want to call it a harem anime, my childhood, something about my childhood romance, childhood friends rom-com. That's a good one. I'm watching that one currently. I want to say that's a harem. Yeah, it's a harem because the main character has a bunch of childhood friends that are girls, and they all like him, and I mean he likes them, but he's trying to play it off. That's a good harem. But the 100 Girlfriends, I've seen it. I think it's one. I've seen the first season. I think there's a second season. If I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I think the pink haired chick. Did her mom fall in love with? Towards the end, the first season, I think her mom fell in love with him. It's really funny. It's charming. It's so funny because I feel I understand he said oh it's not unrealistic. Me personally, it's what would you do in this situation though? If you were him, right? If you're him, or if you were the guy from Girlfriend, and you were facing with a decision where it's hard to choose, so to speak. All the girls are good. All the girls are fine. They're not necessarily fine in attraction and beauty. I mean it's just they're all they're just it's hard, man. I kind of get it. I kind of get it. I mean, I just find it's so funny because in Girlfriend, he was faced with that decision. He just couldn't choose. I'll be honest with you. It's one of those things where I feel as people, we gotta come into terms and just be honest, man. Just be honest. Just be honest. I think I understand in Girlfriend, the first girlfriend was hesitant. No, I'm not doing that. But it is what it is, man. It is. I just think that honestly, and I feel it's somewhat realistic because if you sit down with people and just be honest, and just tell the truth. I can't choose. You're both you both have great qualities. You do good. You do okay. You do good in something. She does good in something. I can't choose. I just think that that's how somewhat life is in a way. So I get it. I kind of get some of the I kind of get some of the characters in those two animes. But I'll say this: there's always gonna be a main girl. I'm sorry. There's always gonna be a main girl. No matter what in the harem, you gotta have that main girl. and you just gotta be honest. Like, she's the main girl. Y'all just, some of y'all are playing second fiddle to the main girl, but there's always be a main girl, and then everyone else just gotta get in line. In the words of Mongdol from Chara, sometimes you gotta beat the ladies with a stick, not physically. You just gotta, you gotta. I love Chowder.
A little more realistic, but also fun in the development of all the romances. If you found any mistakes in the video, leave a comment because
This is a good harem. As far as like reverse harem, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know. I don't think there's a whole lot of reverse harems out there, but this is one of the most popular ones.
as much as I've been watching anime, damn near a decade now, obviously I can't.
Okay, guys, that was our Kendo. Every anime genre explained in 12 minutes. I like all the genres. I mean, all the genres do have like all my favorite animes, so to speak. Like each genre has every like anime I like. So I don't have like a particular like genre I watch. Like I mainly like, oh, that's my favorite genre. No, all of them are my favorites. I'll say this, like I said in the beginning, I do like to watch a slice of life anime before going to bed. Like I like to wind down and just like watch a slice of life anime before going to sleep. So that's like something I do. Like it's like my nightly routine is to watch a slice of life anime. But like I said, I do like enjoy all anime genres. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, a share, a comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what your favorite anime is. Let me know what your favorite anime genre. Do you have a nightly routine? Like what type of animes you like to watch before going to bed? If you watch animes before going to bed. Or just if you're just a fan of anime in general, he said he's been watching anime for a decade. I've been watching anime since I was born, so to speak. I've been watching anime since I was a little boy. Um, since the late '90s, early 2000s. That's how long I've been watching anime. You know, I'm. I hate to say this, but I would be with the kids considered unk, so to speak. So cringe to say, but I would be considered what the kids call call unk. But yeah, I've been like I said, I've been watching anime since like the late '90s, early 2000s, and it's been one of my favorite things in life. I do have other interests though, besides outside of anime, but you know, since this is just mainly anime video, I just want to say that. But yeah, like I said, kids these days don't just like, man, like, yo, back in the day, like I said, you could go inside a grocery store and like pick up a Shonen Jump. You could pick up like even though it's non-anime, you could like pick up Nickelodeon magazines, um, Disney magazines. They had like other anime magazines. Like I said, I used to have like copies of like anime magazines, and nowadays they don't have it. I mean, they probably still do it in Japan. Like I'm pretty sure I think yeah, Shonen Jump is still like a physical thing in Japan, and I'm pretty sure there's still like physical anime magazines. But like here in the West, it's like I don't know, man. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know why we went backwards, so to speak. So like kids definitely missed out on that. Nowadays everything's a subscription service. It's like I don't know. I enjoy physical media. I do one of these days want to start my own like physical media collection of like magazines, books, DVDs, and stuff. So that's like a goal I have in life is like start like a physical media collection of not just anime but a lot of stuff. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think. Let me know how your thoughts and opinions. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.